How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Set 6, and today we're going to be talking about something that's kind of popped into my head watching the recent trailers that have come out and things like that. It's probably nonsense. I'm just going to preface this video by saying it's probably not right, but it's just something that's been like tickling my head. And then as I've thought about it a bit further, I have thought about probable ramifications that would be the case. And the thing that I'm talking about is people's memories and what people remember about the party after remake. Because going off the trailers that we've seen so far, there's going to be some conflicting information kicking about, especially for people in Midgar. That's going to be very strange and very conflicting for them. So I figured that we'd dive into it and have a little bit of a speculative look, a little bit of tinfoil hat time. But there may be more videos on this in the future. Like, I'm possibly going to flesh this one out a bit more. We'll see how long this one goes. Don't forget to drop a like on the video, subscribe for future content. The channel's growing brilliantly. I love you all. But yeah, let's get on with this. So, the first part of this theory kind of came when we got all that information around Tokyo Game Show. And it started with the scene where Zack kind of dumps Cloud on Kyrie, and Kyrie looks a bit confused, and that's it. Now, I would have expected Kyrie to be like, oh, Cloud. And yes, granted, it's just a little quick cutscene in a trailer. Second after that, we might get Kyrie going, oh my god, Cloud, what's happened? But we don't see that in the trailer, and she looks a bit confused in the trailer. So that was the first thing that kind of set the alarm bells ringing a little bit. Now, the second thing that got me was when we got the demo gameplay, especially in English. In Japanese, it was nothing noticeable. But when we got it in English, when we first meet Chadley, he says something that's a little bit weird. And he asks the party, you do remember me, right? Basically just double checking that everyone does remember him. And that got me thinking even more. And then I coupled the two things together, and I started to think, has everyone in Midgar forgotten about the party? Now, if I think about this a little bit further, it becomes a bit less likely. We've got things like at the end of Remake when Marlene reaches out of the window and Barrett reaches back. That kind of suggests to me that there's no, there's memory there. Barrett's not been forgotten by Marlene or anything like that. But it doesn't explicitly say that he's not been forgotten. We can assume that he's not been forgotten based on that, but we don't know for a fact. Now, other things, Chadley himself, if he was in Midgar, surely he wouldn't be able to remember us, but Chadley's a robot, so maybe he's immune to whatever the planet can do as far as altering memories and things like that, so there's a possibility. Other than that, people that we've seen in trailers that we also saw in Midgar, there's not many of them. We've seen Rufus, obviously, but Rufus I would assume would also be immune to it due to the fact that he had the whispers swirling around him. He's got that important fate that's connected to the planet. So, maybe he can remember, but others have forgotten. We do see the Turks in the Mithril Mine as well, and Rude is there, so Rude would have to have forgotten us, which I don't think is going to be the case. And as you can see, as I kept on working through this, I started thinking, right, well, these guys probably know us, these guys probably know us, these guys probably know us. But at the same time, the Turks would do the job regardless, whether or not they remember us or not. If Rufus tells them, go stop them motherfuckers, that's what they're going to do. So, maybe. We also seemingly bump into Beck's badasses, who are a group that we saw in the slums of Midgar. And when we got the big gameplay dump thing where we got like the big demo and we got to see all those aspects of the open world and we saw Mog's house and things like that, we do see Beck's badasses there. So gradually I've kind of talked myself out of this theory, but again, we haven't had any confirmation that anyone remembers us other than Chadley. As far as I can tell, he's the only person that's actually interacted with us and remembered us, and he seemed to question whether or not we remembered him. So it was a little bit weird, but I kind of dispelled it a little bit in my head. I don't think it's debunked completely, but I just do think it's very unlikely. But it kind of got me thinking, what is the situation going to be? Because if we're looking at a two-timeline thing, there isn't really an issue. In one timeline, the party's dead. In the other timeline, the party's fine. Things will proceed as normal. Or, well, not as normal, but, things will proceed from that point. And there'll be a solid track of memory in each timeline. People will remember what happened to Cloud and the party in their respective timeline. But if we are working with one singular merged timeline, where the two existences have kind of come together and created one semi-coherent timeline, what's the deal then? Because you've got the party that survived and left Midgar, and then you've got the party that died and, well, they didn't leave Midgar. Well, you've got Cloud still alive, and he's with Zack. If that's the split and we've got two timelines, that's fine, that works. But if we are existing just in one merged timeline, then what's going to be the deal? Like, are people in Midgar going to remember that the party have died, but then people outside of Midgar won't have any frame of reference because they don't know the party? Is it going to be a case of certain people are going to be immune to it, like Rufus? Will Rufus know that the party actually escaped Midgar rather than dying there? Will it turn out that this actually isn't some live stream balancing effect and it is actually Shinra propaganda like we all kind of thought it was going to be in the first place? Because when we first saw that shot of the dead party like being loaded into the vans and things like that, the instant first thought was, oh, it's Shinra propaganda, that. That was my first thought, at least. And that was a lot of people's first thought, like, oh, this is just Shinra trying to save face after someone's beat them and escaped and got out of Midgar and like, oh, whoa, whoa, we can't let the public know that there's any kind of weakness here. No, 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 no. We can't let the people thinking that Avalanche have escaped. No, no, no. And in fairness, I suppose that that's never actually been debunked. It is very solidly possible that this is still Shinra kind of doing the propaganda thing, but then we'd see Cloud there. So yeah, I think basically what I'm trying to do with this video is kind of put the conversation out there. What do people in general remember? Like, if it's one timeline, what do people remember? If it's two timelines, like I say, it becomes less of an issue. You've got the two separate sets of events happening in separate timelines, and that's fine. And there are a lot of people that think that that's what's going on. I'm still pretty 50-50 on it, whether it's a merged timeline or two separate timelines still. But if it does turn out that it is a merged timeline, there's definitely going to be some confused memories going on in Midgar at the very least. Maybe even beyond Midgar. But in Midgar at the very least, things are going to be a bit of a mess. And especially so surrounding anybody that met the party and interacted with the party and knows the group. Anyone in that kind of window is going to have some sort of memory conflict at the very least. So yeah, as you can see, it's a bit of a weird one, this. There's more to think about on this one, and I think once we get another trailer and a bit more information, this one will be a bit easier, but... And I know that I'm saying the two timeline thing could be simple, but there could very well be a situation where you've got the one timeline where Zack has survived and he's got Cloud with him, but everybody else is dead. And maybe that timeline's existence has caused a problem with the memories of everyone in the main timeline, or the timeline where the party have survived, and it's made them forget. I don't know. Chadley just set my alarm bells ringing a little bit, and it's probably nothing. It's probably Chadley just being needy as always. But I thought I should bring it up about the possibility of everyone in Midgar maybe forgetting Cloud and the party, or at the very least having a different version of events now, where the party have tried to do what they've done and ended up dead. And if it's two timelines, maybe the party ending up dead in one timeline affected the memory of people in the other timeline. I'm not 100% sure, but there's definitely something weird going on with these memories. And like I say, when we get another trailer, I think we'll get a little bit more of a hint towards it, or I'll look like a complete idiot. But what I want you to do is let me know what you think the current situation is. Do you think that people have forgotten the party? Do you think people are going to remember the party as being dead now? Do you think it is two timelines and maybe the two timelines have affected each other in some way? Because we do have that big giant rift in the sky still, which is like a big indicator that something massive has happened. And we know something massive has happened, obviously. The thing we don't know is what are the ramifications of this going to be. And yeah, this could be one of them. This could be one of them. Let me know what you're thinking anyway in the comments below. I know it's been a bit of a chaotic video. I apologise for that. I'll make sure that I've got notes properly for the next one. But I had to throw it out there. But yeah, let me know what you're thinking in the comments below. Like the video, subscribe for future content as always. But more importantly than all of that, have a great day.